Bratton boys are there.
Good evening, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and joining me as every Tuesday, we have Steve the Voice White. Steve, how you doing tonight, sir?
G'day.
Right? And of course, is he? Oh, he's frozen a second. Okay, joining us as an extra co-host this evening, we have none other than Anachronic Comics. Joe, how you doing?
Keep it casual.
That's right.
Keep it
And
casual.
of course, a returning favorite, we have Mr. Mark Andrews as our guest tonight. Mark, how you doing tonight, sir?
Hey, I don't know about favorite. There's an awful lot of nice, good, awesome people on your show. So
I accepted the check, so I'm going to say it.
You said you were going to keep that to yourself.
Oh, it's already cashed.
Oh, I saw that.
Right? It took a while to get here, but no. But no, we got a great show. I've been looking forward to this ever since you mentioned some old G.I. Joe toys. But we'll say hi to the crowd real quick, and we'll come back, and we'll just let you kick it off and get into it. And Joe, you're going to be happy. The Joe Effect, or the Full Joe, or the Joe Claus.
The Travato Claus.
The Travato Claus.
I like Joe Claus better. I like the
Joe Claus as an Santa Claus.
Short and sweet. Forgot too many syllables. Joe Claus. Joe Claus. Joe Claus.
See, it's been coined now.
It's like Santa Claus, but it's Joe Claus.
See, he is wound up tonight.
He is.
I had espresso before I came up here.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew
he
all
did.
zapped
Hey,
up.
look, if you're driving 20 hours to get here, come on.
And Steve, our co-host. And Mr. Mark Andrews, our guest, and then one of my all-time favorite people,
Jerry
the Jitterbug, and John's Comics with Kids. John's Comics with Kids will be on this Thursday with Cliff on Comics co-hosting, and also Chuck Hensey. It's him and Chuck Hensey with a movie special. To see what they're doing, you guys are just going to have to tune in to find out. Again, another one of my favorite people, Mr. Jerry the Jitterbug.
Go,
Mr.
Jerry.
Chuck Hensey, the other half of him and John going against each other. Fun. Mr. Doug Bratton.
Doug.
Good evening, sir.
Brothers are here.
That's right. And we have, scrolling down here.
Rolling.
And we have Dave Bratton as well. Good evening, Dave. Great to see you. Mr.
Dave.
DVH, always a pleasure. Dr. Von Hoop.
We're across the pond.
We have Nicholas, One Shot Comics. Good evening, sir. Hope you're doing well.
Good evening.
And the Jackson Roy Kirk.
Oh,
Jackson.
We must be doing something right. Jackson's here.
yeah. I'm subscribed.
Christina Carrington, the best blue wrench in the business.
You're OG-ness.
Yay.
And we have a lot of conversation going on.
Yep.
All right. So as people keep getting the notifications and popping in, I'll give them a quick tip of the hat. But I don't want to delay this because I'm excited because Mark's got one of the best collections out there, in my opinion. I'm excited to see what he's bringing to the show tonight.
I have a collection of stuff. So
Yep.
Anyway, thanks, Gary, for having me.
Canada.
What?
No.
So
Mark
anyway,
has such a collection of stuff. He's turning his house into a museum and charging most people actually to come in, even his relatives. So it's it's a moneymaker for him.
Excellent.
Hey,
No, but you're very humble, Mark. Your collection's pretty amazing.
well, this is just kind of, we were talking, Gary, and I mean, you younger fellas, excluding Joe, talk a
Oh my God! Wow.
Right out of the gate.
Yeah. Talking a lot about the G.I. Joe and like the comics and the Marvel books, and that's your generation, and they came from somewhere, right? So that's like, and Joe probably will recognize some of these that I'm going to show if he may have had. I don't know, Joe, did you have G.I. Joes, or were they?
Now, when I was a kid, G.I. Joe, when G.I. Joe came out,
Just
guys that I played with thought that they were like trying to push a Barbie type of thing on.
Yes.
So some of the little kids would have them, but us bigger kids would say, "That's like Barbie for boys. We're not touching that stuff."
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're
and
cool.
Joe and I have Joe's just a little bit senior to me, so I was one of the little guys that was playing with him. So anyway, but so Barbie came out and Hasbro were sitting there. The brothers were going, "What are we going to do here? Because like, look at this market, and we need something for boys." And they figured, hey, why don't we make a action figure? And these guys that I'm going to show you is where action figure came from. This was the origin to it, and they were looking for a really cool name, and
they asked me,
and they
I
asked
said,
Joe,
no problem.
and then they ignored what he said, and then they went to this.
Nice.
So, I mean, you know,
the assembly line and snap those arms together.
yeah, like Ziff Davis had, you know, a huge run of G.I. Joe comics, and everybody knew who G.I. Joe was. And back in 1964, things were rampant, and that looked like a really good idea. So they put their minds together. They got access to stuff like people wouldn't believe to do the designs and things. And so in 1964, they came out with 4 action figures: Air, Navy,
yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
Marine, and
Army.
Army.
So they all came out without gear. They just had dungarees, and they had a hat like this.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's the 1964 G.I. Joe with the M1 with the cloth belt and all those stuff, and with the helmet and whatnot. And that was your first action figure.
Such a cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of my Steve Trevor $6 Million Man one I used to have with the
They
see-through
were like
light.
that too. Yeah.
And the thing that a lot of some of the older, you know, boys, they were like, "What are you talking about? Like, you got to dress it in this Barbie, and what are you playing with those? Those are dolls," as Steve said earlier this evening.
Yes.
Which I'll talk to him off camera. Anyway,
You gotta
and
get a talking to. Yay.
this just went crazy. So this was the very first action figure. Was this doll? This is in 1964, made in United States. The heads are all made in Hong Kong.
Figures.
Even the G.I. Joes that were made in Canada and England, all the heads are made in Hong Kong and painted in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
That's why there's like 16 different variations of the head that you'll find throughout when you're collecting these early G.I. Joes. So
and you got that stance on point, like that gun's perfect position. Like, it just reminds you of the military lineup.
Well, I had practice in my other career.
Yeah, I mean,
Mark,
that's like posed perfectly.
Yes.
Mark, did he have? I know that the Barbies had a little like a metal stand behind, so you can make them stand up. Did the G.I. Joe have that?
No, you can buy those now, but no, G.I. Joe came in a cardboard box, and with great artwork. And I wish I had kept my first one, but I didn't. And
yes,
there was no stand for these, and they stand really good themselves.
Oh, they do.
Yeah. The original G.I. Joes like this, they had bigger feet, and then they messed around with the feet and they made them smaller because it was hard to get the boots on.
Didn't they articulate them too, like later on in the run?
You bend it down. There's an entire pamphlet on how to take the boots off.
Wow.
Jesus,
really?
Because you had to articulate the toes down. So
to pull it off. That's right.
There's all kinds of points of articulation. You could do all kinds of cool stuff. So that was the first one, and then they just kind of exploded. There was 172 different G.I. Joe related things you could buy within like 5 years.
I remember the ads for those things on television.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I just want to show is, I'm going to do this real quick. So
That's right. They don't need to be propped up like those sissy Barbies.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. We talk about variations on equipment and stuff. Like this is just an idea of the life jacket.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Oh, they had such cool stuff. I remember the little logo. That's right, because he had that on his uniform too.
So this came out in the 70s, which I'll get to in a minute. But the variations is amazing. Like if you're going to start collecting this stuff, get ready to spend a lot of money because there's so many variations, which I'll play around a bit more with.
And keeping those accessories, they'll probably get lost too. That's the first thing, like the pistol, all the small plastic pieces.
Oh no, I never lost anything, Steve.
but I'm just saying that other kids probably did, and I bet you
mean,
those are the
I would
big
almost
money.
believe you with how good a shape that Joe was in. That Joe looked like barely played with.
And then
Nice.
people think that Marvel did the first toy crossover with toys. This is DC Showcase Classics 53 and 54. So the action figure came out in February of 1964. This came out in November.
Nice.
And what's really cool about these books
There's
is
just the two of them, right?
yeah, there's just two. There's only two. But the very first page.
Oh, wow.
There's the action figure.
There's the action figure.
Wow.
TV's new hero, G.I. Joe, so real he almost seems alive.
And a cool little pose too, like he's creeping.
And the pictures of the four figures and the cool poses.
So of course I collected Showcase. I used to buy them all, but I did not buy the G.I. Joe ones.
Really? Why not?
They were Barbies.
Surprised me.
They were Barbies.
They were Barbies.
Ooh.
So, and the second one, the next issue, even broke it down to sailor, fighter pilot, and soldier. Yeah. And it's got the advertisements in it as well.
Are they Joe Kubert covers also?
Yeah, these are all Joe
Kubert
covers.
Military stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. His signature, his classic signatures right there. Right. Sorry about the glare. Right over top of my finger.
Those covers are cool too. I might end up
they're great. And these are not easy to find because you have two collectors groups, G.I. Joe collectors and comic book collectors.
Yeah. Right.
And they're hard to find these.
And Silver Age collectors.
Yep. Silver Age collectors. And just real quick, if you're going to get into this hobby, you got to have reference material.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I'm betting.
So
just a little bit of it, right?
A little bit. So, like this was really good.
G.I. Joe.
Because it talks about all the pieces and parts. And these two are awesome books. This was his first edition by Vincent.
Oh, I remember those dog tags too. Those giant dog tags.
This big. And then his second edition, you guys would like because it has all of them in it.
Sweet.
Oh.
Encyclopedia.
And then this one, which I'm going to refer to back when Gary asks me about my spec.
Oh. Now, so those are pretty readily available in Canada, the Joes?
Yeah, because they were made here too. So, nice. Which I'll get into a couple of those. So when I talked about G.I. Joe, they started to come out with all these different variations, and you can get different sets and different services and stuff. So one of the things they came out with was the G.I. Joe MP.
Oh, cool.
So this little helmet with MP on it.
And the strap.
The white belt, there's a white M1 rifle for it, the baton, the lanyard, the armband. Again, like a different style of collector, because anybody who's into police and all that kind of stuff are looking for these guys. So again, this is like one of the original from the day, and they just kept pumping out amazing kits. So around this time, then they came out with the Green Berets.
Oh, right.
Wow.
So I'll show you this in a sec. So, the Green Beret, the M16, M16, the black boots, the Green Beret, there was observation posts, there were sandbags, there was all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
And they came out with his radio set.
Military stuff is like a toy maker's dream. There's endless accessories.
Absolutely. There's so many things.
So, the radio set with the phone and antennas and
because there's the boxes that the ammo crates and
did they ever, on a side note, after MASH came out, did they ever do a big set like that for the MASH characters? That would have been really cool.
That would have been very cool. And now that you said that, someone probably will. No doubt. So then they just started. I think their minds finally they exploded because things were going so like their sales were through the roof. They were the number one toy around the world. They were being produced by at least 3 different countries. There was some. I've read some stuff that some of them were being produced in Spain and things, but it just went crazy. So they started really pumping out stuff. One of the things in 1966, they came out with, so there's, this little thing is a fire extinguisher.
Oh, fire extinguisher, cool.
And it goes with this guy.
Your firefighter.
Oh, look at that.
Guy who starts fires.
Who starts fires.
Guy with a flamethrower, right?
What's really hairy there?
What's really interesting about this, like even in the back of this guy,
Jeez,
in his
with
tool
real
belt
tinfoil. That's
is
cool.
like the tweezers.
Pliers?
Oh, it's for,
Wow.
Look at that.
But
that is unreal.
yeah,
And they work. That's crazy.
And they work,
right? Holy
yeah,
geez.
all plastic. Now, what's interesting, remember I talked about different heads and different, like all sorts of stuff to look for. Because all the heads were being made in Hong Kong, they sometimes were having trouble with some of the formulation.
Right.
So when you touch like the head of a GI Joe, you'd never expect it to like have any kind of it resists, right?
Right. It's supposed to be hard plastic.
Okay, so remember that later on.
Okay.
Top head.
Hard head.
Hard head. Now, the firefighter guy, this guy is one of those really sought after GI Joes. And I don't know if it's because of the equipment or because of its unique. It actually came with a fire truck.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
So it was blue. You had 3 Joes that would go with it in their crews, and it was to go with the Air Force and the airplane. The airplane, they had an airplane that was produced by Palitoy out of England.
Wow.
So it was a Panther jet.
That would have been huge.
Well, it wasn't as huge as you'd think, but it fit a GI Joe. Right. But they're all plastic. Palitoy came out with all kinds of stuff. In fact, Palitoy was so successful in England. When GI Joe finished its run near the mid 70s, because of different things, they started doing things with they started making them smaller, and they started playing with the plastic, and they weren't articulated, and they were talking about the price of fuel and the price of oil and making the plastic. But in England, the Palitoy kept making Action Man almost 7 years further.
Wow.
So
why give up the cash cow?
They didn't. And they produced unique sets that you can't get anywhere else. Like they never sold in North America. You had to buy them from Palitoy. And the reason they're called Action Man, fun fact, is they couldn't call them GI Joe because it's general, infantry, or it's not general infantry, but that's American. GI Joe is an American term, so they couldn't call them GI Joe and sell them in England. So they were trying to figure out what was popular, and in the 1964, what was popular was the Danger Man comic and show with Patrick, and he became Secret Agent Man here in the States on TV.
Yeah.
So they named him Action Man.
So
instead of Danger Man.
Mark, when you say this is like sought after or rare, whatever, what kind of money are we talking about, basically?
Some of them, Joe, when I show you the one set that I want you all to keep an eye out, I've seen it for sale anywhere from 4,500 US down to 1,200 US.
Wow.
I saw one that was an outrageously stupid price that I don't trust, and it was closer to $10,000.
Wow.
So
probably a fake.
You have to really watch.
Now, on that last one you showed, does his helmet come off too, the firefighter one?
Oh yeah, yep. You can make them completely nude. Okay, go ahead.
Barbie.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Say something about Barbie. Anyway, that way you can change all the clothes.
Like
and
Barbie.
But the other thing that kind of makes some people get a little creeped out about GI Joe collectors is when we're in a store, an antique shop, or we're looking, we always pull the pants down and look at his art.
Yeah, because you want to look at the butt because that's where the
maker's marks are, and it will tell you whether it was made in England, made in Canada, made in the United States.
It's okay, ladies. He's got boxer shorts on underneath that. He's fine.
Sure he does. Anyway, so speaking of Palitoy, I'll jump into this one. There was a figure that was sold exclusively in Canada in about 1966, I think. Yeah, 1966. What did you say? Ask Mark if you what?
Dave Bratton said he asked if you could change his hat, Mark. You went to, you can make them nude. Yikes.
And
Anyway,
Tina thinks they're cute. They're not cute. They're manly toys.
They're manly.
They're not
Anyways,
dolls.
going
They're
back
action
to
figures.
going back to Palatoy. So there was a figure that was exclusively sold in Canada by Sears.
Yes.
And then they copied it, well, because it was sold exclusively first for a while, and then Palatoy sold one in England, and United States started to produce them as well. But you could always tell the difference because of the maker's mark on the back, but also the Palatoy one came with Brutus.
Oh, right on.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
So
I
you
never
could
even
always
seen
tell
that guy. Wow.
when Brutus was with somebody, it was going to be the Palatoy guy from England.
There we go. Right on.
Oh, wow.
The Mountie.
The Mountie from England. Now, the Canadian variant
Marcus.
There we go.
look like this. And also the Canadian variant has the European head. So what I'll give you, see the difference in the face?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the Europeans dolls all had different faces. The American RCMP also has a first aid pouch here on the brown belt. The Canadian one just didn't. And they sold this with an M1 rifle, but Mounties never carried M1 rifles. We actually carried Winchesters back then. So
Incorrect weaponry.
yeah, but I mean, they didn't do Winchesters, Marks did. So anyway, so there's special boots that are different for this figure. There's special pants, and on the backs, you check the logo to see where it's made, because again, it will tell you Hong Kong or wherever, but sometimes it will say made in Canada. So this action figure was made in Canada.
Nice.
Which is kind of a special one for me.
I do like the size of those though. They look cool.
Well, yeah, they're so. I'm going to jump to a quick story. One of my sons collects clones, like the full 12-inch clones.
Yep.
And he had a display case when he was living home. He had a whole display case full of Star Wars figures, like clones, and he had Jango Fett, and he's got Boba Fett, and he's got Darth Vader, and he's got one of the Jedi, and you know, like he's making some of those companies extremely wealthy. And I was bored one day because we were talking about action figures, and I dug out a bunch of my G.I. Joes, and I changed to display, and I had all the clones with their hands like this and their weapons all stacked up, and their lightsabers on file. And I had all my G.I. Joes.
They were rounding them up.
And rounded up. And I put a voice bubble, Joe, you'd like that, a voice bubble on the display case that said action figures my ass, which I thought was pretty
nice. Did you get a picture of that one?
Yeah,
That would have
sure
been a
is.
great photo to have.
I was looking for it. When I can find it, I will send it to you.
You should have put on there too. Joe's don't miss.
Joe's don't miss.
That'd be cool to see.
So back in 2002, it was the anniversary of Joe's, and they started pumping out really popular figures that made a lot of people pretty happy. And this is one of those from 2002.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
These go for about 300 Canadian.
That's
$300
cool.
to $400 Canadian, like this from 2002.
Wow.
Love the old diving bells. Those are neat.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. But it was really cool because I have the original.
Oh wow.
And you notice they were kind of steering away from military there, and that was more like
Very much so.
exploratory, right?
You know, this still had the treasure in it, which was like the little coins
All
and
the
stuff.
coins.
Now, what made them redo that specific one?
This was one of their most popular figures, and it was a lot to do with this. So this is actually, you can blow on that and pressurize the suit.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
And blow it up,
So
right?
if you could hear, it's really crinkly because the inside of the suit was actually plasticized. So this had elastic bands around the wrist, so that kind of sealed there, and the suit went between the two parts of the helmet.
Uh-huh.
So you could actually put I used to play with this in the water,
And you pump it up and it would float, right?
Pump it. Well, no, because these are actually lead. That's not plastic.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
So these are lead, and this is lead. So he would sink.
It would sink until you would blow on it.
Yeah, and then you could change the pressure, and you'd put your finger over this, and you could change the pressure and make them come up and down. And
so what did the remake have? Since you can't use, since lead is illegal to use in the toys.
I don't know what they use because I've never opened that
They
box.
probably put rocks.
Oh,
in it.
okay.
But I'm sure it's probably just really solid plastic. But you know, he
I
came
agree.
with his sledgehammer for pounding stuff, and
Yeah, just what you need underwater.
yeah, well, you need a sledgehammer. So I mentioned that you got to really watch. If I can get this off.
That was grade A lead there too. It was a good
It was.
quality lead.
That was really good. Like you didn't put it in your drinking water, but anyway, he was
saying that's a great idea for a toy. Oh yeah, a little more interactive, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah, we had all kinds of great stuff back then.
It was the lead's not a great thing, but like the amount of times like I played in swimming pools and I played in my parents' goldfish pond. I mean, out to the creek, you know, and you just for hours and hours and hours.
Right.
Yep.
So you started to get a lot of stuff when you were playing with these guys. So you had to get one of these.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome. The G.I. Joe tackle box.
Yep. So these things came.
But that's supposed to be like your locker, right?
Yeah, those things are expensive as hell. I see those things on eBay, man. They're ridiculous.
So, and you know, like you had
all your accessorize.
Yeah, you got your map case with your little map in it, which I can't get out.
See, Barbie came with her accessories, and
Jackson, he's been on enough. I don't have to tell him numbers. He just goes with it.
Yeah.
And no, Tina, it's not a toolbox.
We're on number 638.
Yeah, sorry. I'll go faster.
No,
you're good. Enjoy yourself.
You're only like halfway.
So that's the little map.
Oh, I remember.
Oh my god, that is
cool.
so. I love map stuff.
Yeah,
that is so cool.
I remember that you could roll that up. Then it had the backpack, and there was the thermos, and the rifle. Didn't he have a pistol too? There's a 45.
Well, there's the
holster for that.
The maps told me
they're in their shoulder holster. So then you had your dive knife.
Yep, the knife.
Oh,
was there a compass? There was a compass.
Compasses. You had flare pistols.
Oh, cool.
Your canteens. You had, like, you name it, you had it. Oh,
hey, hon, I want to go over to Mark's and play. Can I go? He's got some cool toys. I gotta go play.
Your bear trap if you needed one.
Well, yeah, of course. You're in the north. You need a bear trap.
Mark, just only let him play with the lead figure.
Oh, that's what I'll do. I'll let him play with the lead figure. So,
choking hazards may apply.
Choking hazard. So, Steve mentioned that they started getting away from the military guys. I will just show you quickly. 1966, they came out with these Soldiers of the World. There was a Australian, there was a British, there was a French resistance fighter, and there was a German. Excuse me, 5 because they added the resistance fighter, and there was a Russian. So this is the Russian.
Nice.
Oh wow!
Look
at
and
that.
he came with a whole slew of Russian kit, and he had medals and stuff, and he had that fancy hat. But again, if you notice, he's got a different looking face.
Yeah.
He has the European face, not the regular Joe face.
Those high cheek
with the high cheek things. But a very cool hat. Like I wear a hat like that when I'm actually snow blowing and it's cold out.
Yeah, they work great.
They work great.
A bronze Buddha with plastic jewels.
Yeah. So then they started coming out with stuff like this. This is the Flying Space Adventure from 1970.
Oh
wow!
Cool. I remember that guy too.
I don't remember that one at all.
Jetpack thing.
So this was to capture a satellite, and there was you could put him on string, and you could rocket him like you did.
Right, I remember that.
Wow.
Shit, I think my brother had that one too.
Yeah, so that's
because I remember the yellow boots.
Yeah, the yellow boots.
They were putting some thought into these.
Yeah,
they put a lot of thought into.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of space stuff, especially into the early 70s.
Yeah, and when I mentioned to you about different heads and watch, like this head.
All right. Oh, the squishy.
Oh, the squishy. Yeah.
That's the squishy head. And I use him in this because of the helmet. It just makes it.
Now, what's your favorite one? The squishy head or the hard plastic?
The hard plastic, because the squishy head, like, it degrades.
Uh,
If you left it out in the sun and stuff, it starts to go.
The mid-70s ones were like that. We were
Yeah.
talking off camera about I had the mid-70s G.I. Joe.
well, Mark, did they give him a
break
space,
off?
Did they give him a Space Barbarella to play with?
No, you would go to the friendly neighborhood neighbor's kid who had Barbies, and this is a family channel.
Gary, that's your next book. Gary, that's your next book.
That's your next book.
Oh, but Barbie comes with Ken, but no, she comes with G.I. Joe. She fakes it with Ken.
So this guy I got for one of my birthdays.
Yeah,
so
I remember this dude. That's when they had the real beards.
So this is like a full parachute. So this guy has been thrown and fallen and thrown off of barns and thrown off of houses. And I got this brilliant idea one day because we used to fly kites in empty fields beside my house. So I rigged up a release and I hooked him to my kite.
Perfect.
Oh my God.
And I flew him up. And I was a bit younger. So I flew him up really high and I hit the release and it didn't release. And then I hit it again and it finally released. And then the parachute didn't deploy for an excruciatingly long, scary time. And then it deployed and then he got caught in wind.
Gone. Shit, I lost my toy.
You found him, huh?
2 miles later. 2 miles.
Chased them for miles.
I did get him back. So
I won't be home for dinner, Mom. I gotta go find Joe.
I gotta go find my G.I. Joe.
He's the one that needs lead.
Well, at least he has a colorful outfit, so it made it easier to find him.
Well, and the parachute, it's all wrapped up, but it's a good thing.
Big. Those are huge.
White and red.
Oh, okay.
And it's full, it's like this big.
Yeah.
Like it's designed to hold him.
Now, how cool is it? Too bad back then you couldn't have like video of it, huh?
Oh, I'm kind of glad.
If they had video of stuff, man. Oh, Jesus.
So, Mark, was there
back then?
Yeah, were there instructions to how to pack?
Yep.
The parachute so that it would open?
Yeah. There was instructions how to pack them. There's instructions with Joe's. Like, I'll show you what I'm talking about.
They had Fisher Price toys like that too that also had the parachute. I had a couple of them in the late 70s and they had parachutes.
Every one that you'd get would get one of these, like A Danger of the Depths. This is the comic book.
Oh, nice. A little mini comic.
Yeah, it talks about the story, right?
Oh, cool. I remember those. You get those in cereal boxes.
That is awesome.
That size.
You'd get the comic that would give you an idea of a story to follow.
Also, you could have ideas to play.
Yeah, and you got the shark.
Oh, right on.
And you got the sled.
Yep.
And you put a AA battery in here, and this works.
Holy crap.
You hook your Joe to it, and
yeah, I remember they had some toys that had lights and action motors and all kinds of stuff.
And you had your diver's float, so you knew that he wouldn't get run over by a boat.
You just couldn't leave the batteries in until they corroded. Like, that's the problem, right? Back then, you'd forget you had a battery in
and then it would rust it all out inside.
Yeah, you always took them out. So, and your question, Joe, here's the instructions on how to put everything together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. It's upside down, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I mean, Mark, this looks
Dangers
like
of
play
the
with
depth.
him. And that guy's seen so many adventures already.
Well, I'm glad. Nice segue, Gary, because he came with an orange diving suit.
Let's see.
He doesn't have one anymore.
With the black diving suit.
But he has the black diving suit. This one is from a different set. The orange diving suit, they disintegrate. If you can find the orange diving suit,
right,
in good shape, like, it's a hard thing to find because they just crumble.
Oh, wow.
After a year. So this should have been orange, but it's the black one.
Is it rubber or plastic or what?
This one is more plastic. The other one was very rubber. It was a rubber. It like stuck to him. You had to kind of roll it.
Oh, like with the Steve Austin who had that rubber thing on the arm.
The rubber, remember the rubber skin on Steve Austin?
Yeah,
it's like that. And it
doesn't hold up. They didn't hold up well.
The coloring that they applied to it, I think, would helped it degrade or made it degrade.
Oh, yeah. He also came with a spear gun.
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
Watch out, Uri. You may take out Uri with that.
Well, I could.
Functional.
functional.
And
Yeah.
Doug's saying they look like the old Jack Chick comics. I never heard of Jack Chick, but I bet
I would
G.I.
have
Joe
to see.
is-
I don't know who did those. I'd have to see. They also started.
But it came
Coming
with
out-
the toy, right?
What's that?
The little comic thing came in the toy, right?
Yeah,
it
it
wasn't
came
like
with the series.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So then they started doing this too with the
Yes.
action scene.
Yeah,
Okay, hopefully you can hear this.
and he talks.
Could you hear it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got an assignment for you or
Yeah,
something.
got a tough assignment for you.
Tough
There's
assignment.
a whole bunch, and if you pull it out different lengths,
It's amazing it still works.
Yeah,
They
they got a
sound,
little
like they sound like he smoked too many cigarettes, though.
Well, he does have a bit of a smoker's like. And back in the 70s, Joe, you could buy cigarettes for your toys.
Yeah, that's the one I remember. That's like the mid '70s one, isn't it? Is that
Yep.
okay?
Yeah. So then,
There was the Super Commando or something like that. There was a bunch of them, and
yeah,
some of them
there
they
was
all
a
had
bunch
that
of them
talk.
that could talk. So you talked about the space agency and stuff.
Yeah.
They also came out with 3 different versions of this.
Oh,
that
wow.
is cool.
Great. That is
The
great.
Apollo
That
capsule.
is fantastic.
Nice. Yeah.
So
3 different versions.
yep, 3 different versions. And he's in there and
Flying the ship.
flying the ship, and
Major Tom to
so
ground
this
control.
is Mike Power in there.
That's cool.
So that was, I mean, because you got to think that like late 60s, early 70s, we were going to the moon and we were doing all
Right.
sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to
Got
be in the
monopolized. There you
What made
go.
the
Monopoly.
versions different, Mark? What made the versions different?
space. There were different colors here of the screen. There was one that has a blue, and there's one that actually doesn't have United States on it because they were selling them into other countries. So this was just blank.
Mm.
So
That'd be
was
kind of neat, though. You can make up your own faction.
yeah, you could make up your own faction. You could do all sorts of fun stuff.
Stick your own flag on there.
So very quickly, I'll do this one real quick. Just a couple more, Gary.
Dude, you're fine. Relax. Enjoy
Okay.
yourself. This is
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah,
I wanna see all
relax,
of-
Mark. Come
I
on.
want to see the cars. Yeah, it's casual, man. You got to be casual.
Okay, so really getting away from the soldiers and stuff, they came out with this set.
White Tiger Hunt.
Wow.
Wow.
Isn't he cute? He comes out, but
Yeah, in a little plastic crate.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you can go after him and stuff. And the White Tiger Hunt set came with your handy dandy
Hunting
rifle,
rifle.
which
Yeah,
I'm quite sure was a trank gun.
of course it was.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're being humane to these animals.
Yeah, and it
Knocking
came
them
out
out
with
and
your fire.
fire, right? That was like with the
Those
oh shit, what was the other toy that I was talking about earlier?
Big
The,
Jim.
are great
Big
accessories,
Jim
though, like
set.
that little
the Big Jim
fire.
set had all
Yeah,
that.
and
that
a
little fire
tent.
was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It had your tent,
A little canvas tent
Neat.
even.
and then you
Sleeping
had
bag, the whole
then
bit.
you had your
Yeah,
great
with the
white
real
hunter.
fur. The
You,
real
you
fur
can tell
on
it's
the
the
head.
70s because now all the Joes have beards and mustaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the machete.
Machete.
Get the machete.
Yep.
That's cool. That's the ones I remember.
And I did do that. I decided to give him money.
Oh, you shaved them. I'm shaving my Joe.
So,
So many things come to mind, Steve. When you say that.
so talking about the Bionic Man and Steve Austin and all that stuff,
Yeah, those
they
are great.
needed to really kind of get into that. So they came out with this guy. This is Mike
Oh,
Power.
yeah.
He never came with boots. He just had bare feet, so you could see his.
Artificial leg.
artificial
on his
You
arm.
played with that one so much, like that leg's loose, huh?
He's a yeah. He's there's some you got to remember these are like. And there's a spot on the top of this guy's head. If you took a pen light, and his eye would become a laser.
Oh,
That's
I'm
cool.
sorry, that just sounds weird.
I know. Like, look at the laser as you're holding a pen light on his head.
Watch.
Well, Steve Austin had that one, the eyeball, and you had to look through the back of his head. And
Yeah,
you'd
that's
see,
the
like,
one I had.
Scoping, right?
Oh, man, that messed up. Even as a kid, that messed up your eye.
It
Yeah.
did. When you looked in that thing, then you were like, "Oh crap!"
And this one,
I'm glad I was too old for all these things. Guys.
So this one is a remake of the Dark G.I. Joe, he came out in the 60s as well. And do you know that this one's a remake? Because if you look at his butt, this is made in China.
Yeah.
So if you're looking again, I always pull his pants down and look at his arse. But this one I got, this is original from the Action Team.
Right on.
Nice.
Wasn't there one that was supposed to come out and then it never did? In the mid 70s,
there were some that got canceled and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they put so much details in their uniforms.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, I like the shoulder holster on that one too. That's cool.
That is nice.
We're down to just 4 more things I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to refer
the
to
last
something
15 to 20.
Okay, so I think I showed these when I was doing the record show, but G.I. Joe also came out with these, right?
Yeah, those are cool.
The little book and records. Those are
so
the
these
small
are
ones.
the books and records and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, they were like the golden key or the golden little mini ones.
Yeah,
they're just 45s in them, right?
There's 45s, and then so there's the Secret of the Mummy's Tomb.
That's neat.
Oh wow.
Okay, and then there was the pamphlet to go with it.
How to operate your record.
How to operate it. Right.
I love that they gave.
Look how big the pamphlets were, though. That's like a lot of information.
That
would be the first thing thrown away. Oh, there's the little 6-wheeled thing. I remember that.
Wow.
Yeah, with the crane on the back. My brother had that.
ATV, and I put on, I bet, 1,000 miles.
Oh, I bet. I got in so much trouble taking that from my brother's room every time.
Oh my God. And you lived, Steve.
I lived and tell the tale.
Came with your shovel and your pickaxe.
Wow.
Yeah, had all the tools and stuff that attached.
Yep, the tools. Yeah. And it
cool.
came with your cargo net.
Your mummy.
And it came with your mummy.
And your daddy.
What the hell? G.I. Joe was stealing artifacts from Egypt.
Well, he was looting
reason,
but
he was looting.
They need to make an Indiana Jones figure like that with the map and
it's I still have his jewels.
Oh, right on. His family jewels.
I want to hear that.
It's Joe's family jewels.
Joe's family jewels. I still have.
It's like shaving my Joe. I really want to hear that.
I think I got this in about 19. It have been about 1973. I think I was 11 when I got this one.
We're getting very canceled tonight.
And it was crazy. Like I had a special stick that I used that fit in without damaging it, so I could run and go over sand dunes and stuff with it. And
cool.
Now the crane, it's got one of the little pulley things on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, the crane
ratchet up.
It ratchets.
Yeah.
So you can
you can do crane things with it.
You can do crane things with it. So the crane, it pops off. And it's got the ratchet here
with the string and all that. And is that the original rope that it came with?
Yeah.
Jeez, that would be probably the first thing that gets lost or ripped off. Of it.
Right.
Did it? It's got the hook on it. Okay, yeah, perfect. Nice.
I'm not going to say that that's the original hook, Steve.
Okay.
Because I don't think it is. Now, my younger self may say it is.
I think it was plastic, wasn't it? The original one?
No, it was a little metal one.
It was a metal one? Okay.
Well, because they could sell us metal things because we were smart enough not to swallow it, like 80s kids who
poke their eyeball out with it or attack somebody with them.
So
80s, that's when kids really started going downhill.
That's right.
Joe needs a good vehicle.
That was another cool one too. Yeah.
That's a monster. Right. Look at that sucker.
Yep.
I love these. They're so big. I mean, they're great.
Yeah. And this thing,
the hood opens on it and everything on that.
Yeah. And
that's what I was thinking, Doug.
This thing came with, your radio set, your net, first aid kit, your tools again, your shovel and axe.
So, Mark, how do you store these, or do you keep them out and play with them now?
Well, toys are meant to be played with, Joe.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Well, he just told us the story what he did with the poor Star Wars characters. That was probably just recently.
They are I rotate displays down here.
Perfect.
So these guys haven't been out for a while because I was afraid what my son might do after I did that to his Star Wars figures.
Retaliation.
Retaliation. The stormtroopers
retaliation.
have got them all as prisoners.
Yeah, so I bring them out, and like the pilot and the Mountie and the deep sea diver have been out on display for quite a while in a display case. So, and then I'll swap them out and put in some of the other guys and put them away. I have actually, my dad built me a foot locker for them when I was a kid.
Wow.
Oh,
Nice. I put them all in, and it's got compartments and stuff, and so they're nicely secure.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, it works really, really well. So, I'm gonna talk now about scary things for pricing. So, if any of you ever see one of the most unique Joes that came out and they weren't sold very much, is right where my hand is, right here. If you can see her.
Nurse.
Yep,
Joe?
the nurse.
G.I. Joe nurse.
Right. G.I. Jane.
She was the G.I. Joe nurse. She did not sell well. And
because no self-respecting boy would have a girl doll with his G.I. Joes.
and if you find her in the box, mint in the box, I've seen those go from anywhere from $7,000 to $9,000 US.
Oh,
Holy cow.
boy, oh boy. There's
So-
got to be a warehouse full of them things somewhere.
And the other thing, we talked about vehicles. These were both from the States. Now, the most
boy.
valuable one and very rare is the race car on the bottom.
Yeah, I could imagine. Like, why
So
would
that
G.I.
race
Joe need a
car is
race
the
car?
one that I've seen go for stupid prices in the mint in the box. There's one currently on eBay that someone obviously stepped on.
Oh,
Like it's in pieces, and they want $600 for it.
a little Indy car.
Yeah, and
Wow.
if you look up, you see the police motorcycle. That's another
Yep.
really, really hard one to
Sidecar.
find. Yep, and
Comes with a fire extinguisher too.
yeah, and tickets. And those are the really hard ones to find. See the little
Oh,
tickets by
yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So the state trooper, and if you look on this page here, that's the that's the jet fighter that I talked about.
Oh, that is cool.
And Palatoy came out with all kinds. They came out with a tank. They came out with a scout car. They came out with a German scout car, all that fit these guys. And just Palatoy really was kept very, very busy. They came out with soccer players. They came out with, King's Guardsmen and the Black Watch, all kinds of very cool outfits after the Americans shut down.
You know what would have been a cool crossover with that? Especially making a doll that size or figure that size is Rocketeer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Rocketeer.
I'm surprised no one has yet.
Right?
Yeah.
G.I. Joe and Rocketeer would be a great crossover. Them backing him up as he flies into something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's not all the stuff, but that's kind of the bulk of the figures and stuff. But I have two bonus things to show you if that's okay.
Yay!
Yeah.
I like bonus.
But before you show them,
And the
what is
spec.
your all-time favorite Joe that you own?
I'm
My
right
all-
here, Gary. Come on.
Great, yeah,
That he owns. He just rents you.
yeah. My all-time
Nobody
favorite
owns
Joe-
the original Joe.
My all-time favorite Joe, I have two actually. There is the very first one, brand new in the box that I got as a kid for Christmas was the Sea Adventure that was back a few figures ago.
Right?
So he was my very first brand new.
With the
And-
orange jumpsuit.
Yeah, in the orange jumpsuit. And then my next one is the Safari in the ATV. And
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I mean, how
That
could
thing
you
is
not
just-
love that?
Oh yeah,
Because
absolutely.
where I grew up was farmland and sand fields and tobacco fields
Mhm.
and like he
Right.
and I would just disappear for hours
Till the-
Yeah, that would just set
yeah.
your mind on a whole adventure in a whole
Yep.
new place.
and be gone for hours and hours and hours and diving and digging holes that probably I should have not dug and
Yeah.
and it was
That's very good.
hours and
the
hours. And hours.
international adventure stuff, like from regions that you haven't been to, it always gets the imagine. I mean, that's why Indiana Jones is so popular, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So this came out in 2002, and it's by a company that's called Dreams Visions, but it is actually connected to Hasbro as well. and is connected to DC Comics. And this is a fellow that's kind of hard to find, but you can find him.
Unknown
Oh,
soldier.
the unknown
Soldier.
soldier.
Wow. Confidential though.
But he's known because he's right there. Oh,
There you
cool.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember him in DC Comics. Yeah.
Dude,
I
that
got a few of those
jacket's
stuff.
cool.
That
And
is cool.
he has a full pinstripe 3-piece suit under the jacket
And a
Wow.
nice raincoat there.
and a beautiful raincoat. And this peels off to show a very disgusting face.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. Which
I didn't even know they ever made a figure of him.
That's cool.
he's one of those that you just, if you ever find him and you have like no one watching how much money you spend.
That's cool.
Yeah. So even though it's, I mean, he was never around back
Right.
when I was buying the originals and stuff. And like when I saw him, I just thought that's too cool.
And the
And
box is neat.
It is
too.
too cool.
yeah.
I like the
The
box.
packaging's fantastic too.
So the last one that I'm going to show
So Mark,
you,
that you said you wrap the thing off and you see some sort of disgusting face. So that you can take off and you can put back on the
yeah, you can pull it
wrapping?
off and on.
Okay.
But it's again, Joe, it's like this process because it's rubber.
Yeah.
So you have to really slowly roll it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
and then
then
it's
rip
a pain to
it.
get back on just right too, huh?
Yeah, and it makes me a little nervous because just I got burned with my other ones of it ripping and stuff. So this last one is kind of a favorite character of mine, and this is a actually the company that made the Unknown Soldier also is involved in this one. But the box is really big, which I will try to do it justice.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Enemy
It goes
Ace.
on for days. Enemy Ace. Wow. DC's World War German Flying Ace.
I remember that,
Wow.
that was a good comic book. I remember that.
That is a
That
great
is-
comic book. It's one of my favorite, and they didn't scrimp out on detail.
Wow.
Wow. Look at that. How great
That
is
is-
that?
Look at the
Like,
boots on
That's
them.
a full ensemble there.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And as well.
Hey, who needs bloody statues, man? Forget statues. Look at this. This is
Well,
where you
and
go.
I don't buy statues, Steve, for that reason, because
I know, because this shit's so much better.
you
More
can
detail.
pose this stuff. You can do all sorts of stuff. You can like take over your son's display case. You can,
You can dress them, you can
I love-
undress them.
I love
Apparently, you
his
can make them
face.
nude if you like.
yeah,
You see his mouth. You see his mouth, like.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
It-
the enemy.
it's comic book accurate.
Oh, he's
Very
even got
good.
the Maltese, the
Oh
medallion.
yeah, he's
thing
got his
right there.
he's got the
So
cross.
many layers on that
Cross.
figure.
Yeah, and yeah, it's got the right uniform. He has the he's got his Mauser.
Oh,
Does he
nice.
have dog treats?
He
Is-
does
does
not
it-
have dog treats.
Does the pistol come out of there too? Is it actually in there? The little plastic pistol?
The little pistol's in there.
Wow, that's cool.
So now it came with 2 outfits. The other one I've never taken out of the package, but it's his origin outfit.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
look at that.
That's cool.
That is really
Oh,
cool.
with the striped shirt. That's neat.
I mean, why'd you take it out of the package? It looks
Oh, and
so
it's got
cool
it's
like
got the
that.
swords too.
Yeah, it
That's
does look cool like that. And it's got his rapier and his sword and
Just
all
have to
that
get
stuff.
another one that you can open up and then keep that one.
Oh,
Minted
they
box.
just looked it up. Unknown
I-
soldier face on Google.
Definitely gross. Okay.
Definitely gross. I could show it. Anyway, it's I've never seen another one, Steve. I've looked.
That really, they're that
Yeah.
scarce, eh?
So I don't know if they're that scarce or just people won't sell them.
That's true too. Like they're just
There's-
buried in a collection and maybe people have just forgotten about them.
There's his
Oh, nice. That's cool.
yeah. So his little Mauser.
Nice.
But
See, that's the detail that I liked about those figures back then, was having all those little pieces and parts to them.
well, that was the really tough part is like how many of the little pieces and parts and the different machine guns and the different guns and the knives and the rock blasters and the all that stuff can I like we'd be here for hours. But
Yep. And how many
Anyway,
people lost all
I
that
don't know
stuff.
if I can make myself big enough. Let's see. Well, just to show the face.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
here we,
Is that
that's
it?
the face.
yeah.
There we go.
There
Yeah,
it is. It's
that's right
focused
there.
That's
now.
what's underneath
Gee,
that mask.
Wow.
wow, that's gruesome. All right,
It is.
it's like Jonah Hex ugly.
Yep.
No, it's worse than Jonah Hex.
Yeah, it's worse.
worse. Anyway, hopefully that was entertaining and
Entertaining. That was amazing, Mark. What a great collection you have. That was fantastic.
Makes me feel bad that I didn't buy any GI Joes back in the day.
Go back to your book. The spec.
You can always start now, Joe. I've sent you down rabbit holes before.
Yeah, well, what we learned though is that Joe was just too concerned with his image back in the day.
I was, I mean, come on.
We stole his name and everything, right?
In New York City and Manhattan. If
you didn't get any
I was
royalty
with a GI Joe back then, I'd get beat up every day.
You would have never been found again.
That's right.
Well, my friends from those days, like we all had them, and different like Jeeps and ATVs and all that kind of stuff, and off we'd go, and it was just a hoot and a half. And so some of these, like I found later on at yard sales because people just were getting rid of them, right? So I had paper money, and I had other ways to get some like trade and stuff, and I trade like the white tiger hunt. I traded with a buddy of mine for some Major Matt Mason stuff because and
stuff that you don't care about and other things that you do want. So everybody walks away happy. That's a good trade.
Well, Joe traded his buddy for comics, and it was the same idea, right? So
there you go.
So that's the ancestor of the GI Joes that you guys grew up with. These are the ones.
Yeah, those were fantastic. I love those. Those are great. I would have bought them.
No,
probably not because I wouldn't have had the money, but I would have asked for them.
I just had the one with the one that talked, and then the head broke off the goddamn thing because the plastic was junk on those. It's amazing yours is still intact.
Well, that's one of the very early ones, though, before they started into that other, like you got
the muscle ones from 76.
Yes, the muscle ones from 76. I don't have any of those. I didn't have any with the blue shorts or any of that stuff.
They didn't last. I don't think there's any. It was impossible to have those things survive to this day and age because
and it's the same. The Kung Fu grip hands. Because they changed that so they could grip the tools and stuff better, but you got to be really careful because literally those fingers will just snap right off now. So the older ones they last longer. So on that happy note,
cool
very
stuff.
Nice, Mark. Very nice.
Yeah, that was incredible. What a fun time. Let's go around the horn though. Steve, what's coming up for you, sir?
Voices Choices tomorrow, and I'm just doing the hidden gems, going through my whole collection while I'm shifting all my boxes. So there we go.
And Joe,
I'll be on Joe. Oh yeah, I'm on Joe's show Friday. Yeah. This guy.
We do have a special mail call on Friday coming up, which is going to be, I think, pretty cool. I just dropped episode 25 of the comics my mom let me keep.
That was cool.
So pretty interesting books there, including some early like Hawkman and different things like that. So worthwhile to see. And I am working on a couple of things. I finished actually the script on my next Who Is, which took me a long time to do, but a research. I had to change it because I found out new stuff. So I'm going to start putting that one together. So hopefully it'll be out in a week or so.
Do we have a teaser of who it is, or are you keeping it under wraps?
I'm not telling you who it is.
Right.
And at the end of the month, or a week from Friday, we do have a comic book crowd where Metarog Roger is going to be on, and Mr. Gary B is going to be on, along with Matt and Alan. And it's going to be on obscure superheroes or obscure comics. So it's going to be kind of cool, I think. It's going to be interesting to see what everybody comes up with.
That will be fun.
Right. Oh, there's so much good stuff. All right, cool. And coming up for me in 2 nights' time, we have John's Comics with Kids, and we have Cliff co-hosted, and we have Mr. Chuck Hensey. And John and Chuck are going off a list that Cliff gave them, and you saw both of their movie episodes, which were great. And it's going to be another one, but they're working off a list Cliff gave them. That's all the information I have. So the show's going to be as much a surprise to me as everybody that's watching it.
I'm going to be able to watch it too because I'm off Thursday. That's perfect. So I'll be in the crowd typing.
And then next Tuesday, we have John, the autograph fisherman, on doing a card edition of the 1011.
Oh, cool.
Good.
Right. So, yeah, we got some fun stuff upcoming. And yes, thank you. And Mark, and what you got anything coming up? You're on Joe's channel?
Yep. I just do either your channel or Joe's channel. That's like,
Yeah, he's under exclusive contract with me and Joe. You know, if
I
he
thought you were
strays,
under
we kind of have to
contract with
weigh
me.
in a little bit. It's a hell of a snowball fight with some rocks in the snow.
Got some NDAs going on here.
yeah.
Right.
Hey, Dave.
But guys, first of all, thank you to the audience. We had a great audience turnout for you tonight, Mark, to see your great collection. And also, thanks for sharing more of your collection with us. And
That's
of course, a big thank you to my two co-hosts. What a great time. Joe, I'm so happy that you were able to get home in time and make it here tonight with
I'm going straight to bed after this.
I don't know, with that espresso, you're probably going to drive right back down to Florida again.
Yeah, probably. I still have some espresso left in me, I think.
There you go. Well, that'll get you up in the middle of the night, though.
There you go.
All right. As we like to end these things, guys, keep it casual.